Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Got another video for you guys, this time from Data Breach Today. Before we dig into it, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, comment below, and give your thoughts and opinions on the video. Let's get into it. Ransomware groups refine, shakedown, and monetization models. Popular using initial access brokers, mediation as a service, healthcare hits. Now I'll go in to say that I said it before that these ransomware operators and cybercriminal organizations are operating like a Fortune 500 company. They're constantly developing their ransomware or malware, and they're constantly adapting to countermeasures put in place. It's a constant cat and mouse game when it comes to cyber defenders and cyber criminals, which is why cybersecurity is a booming business, and they're looking to hire all kinds of cybersecurity specialists, experts, what have you. So this business or this industry is going to be booming for a long time. Let's get into it here. I'm not going to go over this article in its entirety because it is relatively lengthy. I don't want to make the video longer than it needs to be. Ransomware wielding attackers continue to seek new ways to maximize profits with minimal effort. Some of their top tactics include tapping initial access brokers, working with botnet operators, and testing new monetization models. Core cyber crime as a service ecosystem helps facilitate such efforts. Complex landscape, difficult for law enforcement to disrupt. Right, these guys are probably always going to be around. Let's see, initial access brokers. One popular cybercrime as a service provider offers remains the initial access broker who hacks into organization and offers buyers a menu of ready accesses. These give buyers a quick remote way to access a victim's network, typically via remote desktop protocol or VPN connections. Attackers can then attempt to move laterally in victim's network, blah, blah, blah. Right. Initial access brokers, that's a good business strategy. I mean, you can't blame these guys. They'll go in there and hack these organizations. Say, hey, you know what? Instead of doing the extra part, let's sell these services or accesses to the actual ransomware operators, let them do their thing, and then we'll take, a cut of the pay in return. So it goes back to a good business model. And these guys, like I said, these guys are constantly adapting to everything. And of course, RDP or remote desktop protocol or VPN connections are good ways of getting into an organization, especially if those organizations do not have good measures in place like multi-factor or two-factor authentication in order to access RDP connections or VPN connections. And we all know how a lot of organizations out there are failing in that area, which is why these ransomware attacks keep happening, and a lot of times they turn out to be severe. Let's get back into the article. Seeking fresh monetization models. Ransomware groups continue to test new strategies for making money, including pure data leakage models. Oh boy. Ransomware group called Ransom House appears to have emerged last December, described itself as a professional mediators community that will facilitate negotiations between ransomware groups and its victims, claiming to help both sides to set up a dialogue to make informed decisions. See, that goes back again to on the cyber defense side of things. A lot of places that end up getting breached or hit with ransomware, they'll contact third-party entities that specialize in negotiating with these ransomware operators, and it looks like the cyber criminals have sparked up and actually created their own service to negotiate these ransoms. Let's see here. Increased hacking of remote services. Ransomware wielding attackers typically gain access to victim networks, but hacking into remote services or conducting phishing attacks, and to lesser extent by exploiting known vulnerabilities. Experts say rinses months, blah blah blah, exploiting those vulnerabilities there. Microsoft Exchange, Confluent Server, Data Center, VMware Workspace. Right, this one's relatively recent. And this goes back again to proper vulnerability management, patch management in place. So make sure you have a well-written policy and procedures documented, and you're also following those policies and procedures in place. Make sure you have the proper tooling in place to get those machines, patched and vulnerabilities remediated, whether that be through some kind of vulnerability scanner that assists in that process. You run the vulnerability scanner and it picks up all these known vulnerabilities, and you contact the correct business units or persons of contact and not in the IT department. Say, hey, we got this report here. You need to fix these vulnerabilities. And hey, here's a news article saying that these vulnerabilities are being actively exploited in various different environments. And you also need to check and make sure the vulnerability actually applies to your organization, and then put in the proper compensating controls or remediation efforts. Trace initial access via remote services, meaning RDP or VPN, right? As I previously stated, those are big ways of getting into an organization. External remote services, 67%, 0 day, 20%, and phishing. Go back to 0 days here. Those tend to make the headlines in the news quite a bit. You know, organizations see this, oh, look, a new 0 day, blah, 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 has came out. Everyone loses their mind, right? But they tend to neglect all of these hundreds of past vulnerabilities that have not been fixed. So be sure you are properly relating the risk of the vulnerabilities discovered to how it relates to your environment, and then tackle those critical high risk vulnerabilities, get them out of your environment so that you don't end up on the dark web somewhere being extorted. Right? See more secrets and lies. Ransomware groups also regularly lie to infiltrate their reputation at rivals' expense. In June, Lockbit claimed to have hacked cybersecurity giant Mandiant, but that claim has been widely debunked, and Kela reported that it was simply a trick to gain attention from the public. So that's something new there too, as you can see. I mean, they're cyber criminals, so of course they're going to lie about some stuff. It's not surprising. They want to boost their own, I guess, credibility or influence out there. Try to make some head news or news headlines to get their name out there to attract, more cyber criminals to use their services or products, et cetera, et cetera. Hitting healthcare, as I said in previous videos, healthcare is a big industry that's been targeted by these cyber criminals, and healthcare organizations tend to not have proper countermeasures in place, or they're lacking in a lot of areas. I mean, they have tons of old systems in place. Some of them are probably still running Server 2003 or other obsolete systems in place. A lot of times it's due to budgeting issues, or it's due to the organization's willingness to move off of that old equipment, or get something, or get a vulnerability fixed in order to make their environment more secure. It comes back to negotiation skills when it comes to dealing with business units. But as I said, healthcare is a big industry. They make tons of money, and it's no surprise that these cyber criminals are attacking healthcare organizations more and more often. Most targeted in industry sectors, healthcare, of course, at the top of the list. Professional services, financial services, technology, telecom, manufacturing, government. Let's see here. Regardless whether ransomware groups supposedly steer clear of healthcare sector or not, their recourse when such attacks inevitably do occur is often to offer a free decryptor to such victims, especially in an attack. If the attack is generating negative publicity, but of course, after potentially thousands of systems get crypto locked and patient care is disrupted, extensive damage has already been done. Right, there has been some cyber criminal organizations out there that do offer those free decryptor services for health organizations, because it can negatively affect human life. I remember when the epidemic first happened, there's some ransomware groups out there say, hey, we're going to avoid healthcare sectors, but that did not last very long, as you can see here. I mean, you're not going to trust a cyber criminal, right? Anyway, that's the end of the video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment below, give your thoughts and opinions on the video, and check out the article. Thank you.